Hey guys, I'm Jay, welcome back, and we are at Gingerman Raceway in South Haven, Michigan. Before we get on track, we did a few extra little things to the GTI and the E46, so check it out. Alright, we've done a few things to the vehicle to get it ready for Gingerman. As you saw last week, we had an issue with our rear brake caliper guide pins where they were sliding back and forth and clunking. There. And so we've gone ahead and put in our ECS brass guide pin kit, and they're pretty beefy. I expect some high performance from those. We're not getting that noise and hang up anymore. So you can see not only with these old ones, or they don't have the ribs, they're also a lot shorter, so we're gonna get our full length of motion for our brakes with our ECS kit. We also threw on our Turner exhaust and muffler, and this will be part of the X pipe we put on previously. And this is a valve system, so it should have some pretty good resonance. Oh, yeah. And lastly, we threw on our Turner skid plate, just so that if we do have some off-track excursions, all of our undercarriage stuff will be protected. So let's hit Gingerman.
So now that I'm driving the Force Mazda 2, the seat in the GTI has been remaining open. So what better way to get someone back in the seat than to bring Chris in? He's gonna be driving it this weekend at Gingerman and kind of tell us about what you do at ECS and your experience on track.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Ellen. So I am Chris Chatfield. I'm a R&D engineer at ECS Tuning. I design a lot of the parts, and a lot of those parts end up on this car. Mark 7 GTI, that's kind of our bread and butter. We've got a lot of cool stuff under the hood, and it's really cool to be able to now firsthand be able to torture test everything that goes into it, like on the track, you know, the way it was actually meant, like designed to be used, which is super cool. Super excited about our functional rear wing. Gonna give that a shot and just see how it does as far as, you know, add some grip to the rear. You know, even though it's a front wheel drive car, you know, people probably joke a little bit about, oh, it doesn't need a rear wing.
Oh, it does.
Oh yeah, it does.
Oh,
it actually really helps when you're like actually like
in a corner.
in like, you know, braking and cornering, especially like the rear gets really light, especially there's no weight back there. You have all the weight on the front from braking. Like it really, like the rear likes to dance around a little bit, and the rear wing is to kind of help keep that in check. So starting off in HPD3, I've done plenty of track days, endurance races before through Champ Car, all the like. I've raced my own personal cars. Yeah. It's been fun. Done a lot of go-karting, autocross, you name it. Awesome. Finally branching into more of the NASA stuff. I mean, this RACEWAGEN stuff seems pretty sweet. Like, I can't wait to see if we do some wheel-to-wheel, some cool stuff like that.
And it's nice to have somebody who knows a little more about the E46. So since that's the other car we're fielding, it's an entirely new to me platform. And so I'm learning as I go. And I mean, the internet, you know, answers a lot of questions, but you don't know the questions to ask until you break something. So I'm excited to have you along.
Oh,
it's a little more of a knowledge base. There's the tires starting to get some heat.
Yeah.
I don't know what the braking zones are, so you're gonna have to figure that out, because I haven't driven this car in a hot minute around here. That wing is really making the rear stick.
Really? That's awesome.
I'm holding a lot of G, and this car used to be really oversteer happy. I would be curious to play with the angle of attack. It's cool that it's adjustable.
You probably don't need much angle of attack in this car.
Yeah, it just needs a little bit of help, but this is a nice swoopy track, so if anything is gonna work, you know, and if it's gonna be the ideal setup, I think it's probably this track, maybe Pitt Race.
Yeah.
But that's about it. You see, it's a pretty straightforward circuit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the brakes are nice and warm now.
It definitely feels like a hybrid between Mid-Ohio and Nelson. Like, you have the mostly the flatness of Nelson, but there are a couple like blind crests where you can't really see much in front of you.
Can you feel that traction control fighting?
A little bit, yeah.
I might suggest you try pulling the ABS fuse and seeing if you like it. Because can you feel it going ba-bum, 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 ba-bum?
Yeah, it's definitely fighting. All in all, it feels pretty tight though, right?
Yeah, it's got a lot of grip. And we're still on our street tire supercar 3s. The H&Rs are taking the bounces really nice. I feel like we have them really dialed in. Like that was some curb and it probably is not gonna look like much on video. And the hot brakes, they're nice and warm, they're feeling good. We do have a CSF radiator in the car now. Should help with our temps as it's gonna be in the high 80s tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, that'll totally help.
And I think pulling that ABS fuse is gonna be pretty crucial because otherwise we're just gonna have too much heat and everything. It really resists the four-wheel drift even with it coated out with VCDS.
So this has the HP Plus POC compound on it, right?
Yeah, and we have HP Plus and HPS so that we don't have too much rear bias.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's still a streetable but trackable pad at the same time. Ooh,
yeah,
doggy.
I run the HP Plus in my Autocross E30, and it's amazing how much bite it has. And I've looked at the temperature curves, it's got a lot of room to go, like it's not gonna fade anytime soon.
That was a pretty good stand on the brakes there.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna cool it down and just bring it in, unless you got any questions about turns or anything.
No, that makes sense.
Today's been going well. We did a couple shakedown sessions. I don't have the driver's ed thing yet, so I can't go out on the course, but a couple sessions I went out with Chris, just trying to learn the course, learn the car, you know, see kind of braking zones, where like pointers, stuff like that. Still learning the course and the car. Get an idea of the, you know, limitations of the car too. Definitely, we have the Supercar 3s on right now, so we'll be seeing, when we swap to the Supercar 3Rs, we'll see a much higher grip level. Also seeing some overheating with the car, you know, pushing it like on the track, lap after lap after lap. That comes to like, you know, we might create an opportunity to make like hood vents, something like that for the future, but that's just something to, you know, be mindful of while I'm out there on course, just to make sure I don't overheat the car. Just keep an eye on the temps, you know, might need a cool down lap here and there.
How's the wing been?
Yeah.
As a passenger, how?
So as a passenger, like, I mean, especially when before we pulled the ABS fuse, like it was ridiculously stable, almost too much so. So yeah, we ended up just pulling the ABS fuse, got rid of all the nannies, because with the Mark 7s, you know, that's the only way you can turn everything off, unfortunately, is just to pull the fuse. So after shaking down, we noticed aero balance is quite a bit off. We think if we remove some of the angle of attack from the wing, that should help in that regard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just use the adjustment points that we have on this wing and see what we can do to get this angle a little bit better. We're gonna see if this works. Stick a bolt through that. There we are. Easy adjustment. Even with hand tools.
And one person.
Yeah. Yeah, you just leave the back one tight and it'll just act as a pivot.
So the car's held up well after my first session out with HPD E2. This is definitely a much different track than Mid-Ohio. And while it's not as technical, there are a lot of turns that you have to take with a lot of different approaches. So it's been interesting to try to learn and familiarize myself with the track. We had our first session so far. I took it pretty slow just to get familiarized. And I'm looking forward to the next session where we're gonna, again, have just a clear all green so we can do whatever before we actually get into our drills. All right, so we just had our second session of the day. It was my first solo drive, so that was definitely different, but definitely more, I was able to more concentrate on what I was doing rather than listening to what somebody's telling me to do and get more familiar with the track, which was awesome. I hooked up our Apex, and so you'll see that on the screen as we're driving, but had a lot of really consistent laps. Started out with a 207, brought it down to 3 back-to-back 206 laps, and was really pleased with it. So now we're gonna throw on our Goodyear Eagle racing slicks and see what difference those make. So it's Sunday, I just finished my second session, which was a reverse grid drill, meaning all of the slower cars are in the front, the faster ones in the back, which forces us to drive through traffic. I was more towards the front and had a lot of people passing me. I just have to give it to these tires because they grip everywhere.
10 seconds on the tires, let's go!
So I was running 206s pretty consistent yesterday, and then we threw these on, and I had my best lap time yet at 156, so I cut 10 seconds off, and I can't speak more highly of how awesome these are gripping. We got a couple more sessions later, so we'll see how we do. Our rear caliper pin bushings that we put on, those brass kit, are holding up wonderfully. We got no more knocking noises. The brakes are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. I'm going faster, car's holding up. Let's hope it stays that way.
All right, you got no ABS, so remember that.
Yep.
You'll feel the car pull power when it overheats. What would you like me to do? Just work on line, work on braking? What do you want to, or just work on like where the you are on track?
Yeah, this is my first time actually out here, so just trying to, line and braking points basically, simple as that. Wow, these brakes have a lot of bite.
Yes. And once you get some heat in them, they got even more bite.
So this is clip this, clip the outside, which is knocked over, and then late apex this. That's a little tricky, but we can get it.
Yeah, that's about the right setup. Yeah, and then rim shot these. Now start drifting towards that apex cone. Straighten her out. And then left it. And I like that straighten out moment because it settles the car and lets all your traction return.
Yeah.
And then, yep, hug them inside here. And this is about the only, like, way super late apex other than 3.
Gotcha. Yeah. I remember this is, yeah. Even that seems early. And it's got some pickup.
Oh yeah, she's rowdy. Good, look for that cone. Tight on that cone. Feather out. The best advice I can give you is straighten the wheel whenever it's possible so that you actually go somewhere.
That's fair. I noticed a lot of wheel spin already.
Yeah. So like start winding it out, winding it out, winding it out. There you go. Good. Yeah. Unwind, unwind, unwind. Yeah, there you go. I could feel you feeling it.
Yeah. There's definitely a threshold.
I think you're a little too inside for our front wheel drive, high horsepower. Yeah. But this section is good.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
Don't go off there. Good save. I wasn't even worried. Good. Nice. Look at that apex. Jay, you can learn something here. Hey, pretty good first run, man.
Yeah.
So how was your first 2 sessions out with the GTI?
Pretty good. I did like one warm-up session with Chris, and it went pretty well. He's giving me some good pointers. I think the biggest hurdle right now is still learning the course for me. Second session was by myself, and still getting confused between, there's like a couple right-hand corners I keep, trying to get the good visual cues to brake, and one of them I ended up going a little bit off. It happens. I learned, and come back faster, hopefully. Learn from my mistake. Car felt pretty good. We're still on the Supercar 3s. We want to swap over to the 3Rs, just kind of reaching the limit of these tires and want to move to something a little bit more grippy, especially with the warmer temps that we're seeing. We made an adjustment yesterday to the wing, reduce the angle of attack to hopefully decrease the downforce. I think we're feeling that. I still feel the downforce. It's keeping the rear planted in a good way, I'd say. It's not doing too much where it throws off the aero balance, but it's definitely helping keeping the car in line, which I think it's a good balance right now. I think moving forward, like adding a front splitter would be huge. Still kind of battling overheating issues as well, so we're still talking about throwing in some vents into the hood, but if we're going to keep the car outside, we're going to need a car cover too.
overall, the weekend turned out really good. Chris and I got more familiarized with the track, and by the end of it, we were putting down really good lap times. Next episode, we're going to be working on these cars some more, so be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check back for more enthusiast content.